Good evening, everybody. It's 8 o'clock, so it's time to chalk. We're going to actually be doing some layering technique with polka dots in this always earned, never given. And we're going to have some polka dots on top of that. So I'm going to show you how you can set some textures right into your transfer so you're not actually, putting dots everywhere and not putting it in the background, but actually inside the screen here. So if you watch this later, put hashtag replay in the comments so I can say hello to you. I like to make sure I talk to everybody and say hello. So we're actually going to be chalking today, and I'm going to put this down some so you can see. This is a small cabinet door. It actually had some staples in the back of it, but it's just a little small door that I've painted with some teal paint, a blue color. And I'm going to go right on top with this here and do a little bit of chalking to show you kind of the base of this. Then we're going to come back to it with the dots on top. So how this works is when you do your base chalking, you just kind of chalk this the way you want it. I'm going to do white and black here. We're going to pull it up and it needs to be washed. So once you do the chalking the bottom layer, we're going to wash this really quick before I put my dots down. And I'm actually going to give this to my assistant to spray seal it. This is just like last week, so we're doing layering here. So we're going to have this spray sealed while this is being washed for me, and I'll dry it, put it back down on the board once I get it back, and lay the dots on top. That's just going to actually put dots in the transfer so that's just right over. I've got to line this up perfectly, so it'll be right in the opening of this transfer. So it's going to be really cool. So this is going to be a little different. It's not something I would normally do, so we're going to do something different. This is in the catalog now and it's going away. So always earned, never given, and then awesomeness here. It's a B-size transfer, so it's not that expensive. So I suggest you snag it because it's actually a year-round one. It looks pretty cool. These polka dots are as well. And I've cut this down from an E-size transfer. So I'm going to put this to the side. And I'm going to grab my scissors. This is a line here that Couture has given us. Now, please feel free to share this with your friends so that they start to watch. And make sure to put hashtag replay if you listen to it later so I can say hello later. And if you're on now, say hello. I'd love to talk to you. It should be a part of the conversation. So this is our transfer, and we're actually going to take this right here is my fuzzing cloth. So I'm going to take this off and give it a good fuzz. I've never used this one before, so it's a little sticky. So we're going to go ahead and go to town here and go ahead and fuzz this. I'm going to pick my backing to the side here. So let's go ahead and fuzz, see how much tight it is. It's kind of really sticky. So we're going to fuzz a couple of times. Now after we do this, it's probably going to be nice and used. So we won't have to fuzz as much the next time it's used. Remember, our transfer is 8 to 12 uses. So this always earned, never given will be a great addition to any room for a kid or any gym. This is actually a part of some of the transfers for gyms. It's really cool. I've got the other one that I'm going to be doing a piece with very soon on a window that says strength, honor, victory, sweat, goal. It's really cool. So I think that's fuzzed sufficiently, and how I know is it's not quite as sticky when I pull it up. So it's actually a little bit better. Put my dots here to the side, and I'm going to turn you so you can see, and we'll go from here. So let's go ahead and take our transfer and lay it right down on our board. I see a little bit of chalk, like a hard piece of chalk on the back, and that's going to mess with my project. So I'm going to just get that off of there, because I don't want that. So we're going to just put it right in the center. Hey, remember, watch this later, hashtag replay in the comments. Don't forget, I'll be uploading it to YouTube this week as well, so you can watch it anytime if you want to check out this technique later. I'm going to be using your standard medium-sized squeegee here. It's actually the regular, but I call it medium. Keep working my air bubbles out. And what we're going to do is we're going to put some black and white here. I'm going to go white on always and given and black on earned and never. So this will give us our base color. So let's go to town. So let's go ahead and go for the white. And I'm going to pull a wipe out so I can be prepared to clean off my squeegee. So I'm going to take some white here and go right ahead into the always and fill that in. You're working it right into the screen so you can get that lovely. I just love, this is a really nice little banner piece. It's really nice. It's really cute. So I'm going to scrape that off. scrape my excess right into the jar. And I could actually work kind of fast with this. So I'm going to go straight for the given. It's not sitting there too long and I'm moving fast. So it's not drying quite yet. So I'm going to work this in really quickly so both sides of this will be ready to peel up. And I'm not peeling the transfer all the way. I'm just giving it some air so I can move on to the earned and never. And those will be in black. Okay, so just lay the lid there. So I'm going to pull up these corners. So always in given. Okay. Let me go ahead and pull this up and all right. Yeah, that's a little damp, but not too shabby. Actually looks pretty good. You know what? I think I'm going to take that hair dryer and give it a nice little go on low. Just so I can make sure it doesn't smudge at all. I want it to be perfect. Okay, that's not too bad. I'm going to lay this right back down because I want my letters for the earned and never to be in the exact same space. I'm not pressing on the always and given. You know, I don't want to pull that chalk paste up. So I'm going straight into the other two. We're going to do this with black. So this is black velvet. And I'm going to take this paste off the end of this squeegee and go ahead and put the black velvet right into earned and never and then peel this up. So we're just going to work this right into our words here. And Chalk Couture is so easy to do. You can make something like this is a little baby cabinet door that we picked up that's been painted. It's super cheap and I'm going to make something really cute. It'll be a nice decor addition. So I'm going to be pretty happy with this piece. And you know what? The great thing about it is if it doesn't work out, I have waxed this with Minwax so I can erase it and do something else before it's sealed. But I think it's going to be just nice enough for me to go ahead and seal it in between my layering I'm going to do. Because it looks pretty cool when I picked it up on the white. So I'm going to go ahead and see how this turned out. Yes, I love that. So I'm going to wash my transfer. Actually, with the magic of live streaming, my transfer will be magically washed for me. So we're actually going to layer this with some polka dots on top. And how we're going to do that is the transfer is being washed for me. If I was doing this on my own, I would just wash it myself and dry this out and spray seal it a little bit. Because I really like how this has turned out, but I want to add some texture, so I'm going to dry this, and then it's going to get spray sealed when I dry my transfer. I'm going to show you how to do this. It's actually quite cool. This is a different technique. Now next week we'll be doing something a little bit, not quite as advanced, a little more basic. I don't want to go ahead and do some transfers I haven't touched yet, so that'll be fun. This looks really great. So how this works, because I want the polka dots just to appear in the Always Earn Never Given in coral. This is the coral color. So what I'm going to do is the transfer will be dried and put right back onto this design. But I am going to send this outside for a quick spray with some acrylic spray. So I'm going to make sure I'm not peeling that back up. I want it sealed. I love this bottom. I want to keep it that way. But I want to add some touch of color with the coral. So the dots are actually going to go right on top. So I will line up my transfer that I just chalked after it's dry back on top of this. So everything is perfectly lined up. And then lay the dots on top of that. And then work my coral across the top. Seems confusing, but what the result will be is the dots will only appear in the places that I've chalked. So it'll be great, and it's going to be so beautiful. Now my trusty assistant has my transfer, so I'm going to actually take that from her to dry it with you right here, and I'm sending her with the board outside to give it a quick spritz so I can guarantee that it's not going to come up, because I don't want it to come up. So we're just drying with the drying side of our fuzzy cloth so we can get that nice and dry. Now, I want to remind you guys, on the 31st, I have a workshop at the Coffee Spot. That's at 790 May Creek Drive. And I'll put the link for my link tree in the comments so you can get to the RSVP. You can go ahead and get your ticket to come. It's $25. Remember, a portion of the proceeds for this workshop goes to charity, to El Peace International, some missionaries to Ethiopia to help widows and orphans, and pastors who actually are taking a big risk spreading the word of God. So we're going to help them and their families, and we're sending those missionaries over there this year. So that's a part of what the Coffee Spot inside the church does, and we're going to support them in their mission. I'm also going to do a 50-50 raffle, so that's going to be fun. So you could be a winner too. And for $25, you will walk out with something like this. This is the garland, or at least some of it that you see. I made packages for you. Here's one of them that has all the ribbons in here, and the chalks, the little chalk transfers, and the rope and everything. So you will be creating something like that, and you will be chalking chips with Valentine's Day. So this will be really great. So I encourage you to come out for that, $25. Also, I'm going to be teaching how to do reclaimed door artwork at Michael's in Brunswick in February. So that's on my link tree as well. I will share that in the comments. So it looks like my board is back, and it feels like it is dry. Looks great, nice and dry, and the transfer here is dry as well. Remember, I've only used this once, so I want to go ahead and give it a fuzz really quick to make sure that it's not going to stick too much. Oh yeah, I smell that. I smell that spray. It smells delicious. Not really, it's a little fumey. So why we take it outside? Because it's dangerous to spray inside. It's like spray paint. Okay, I'm going to give it a good fuzz. It's very sticky. This cleaned off really easily, and sticky came back pretty quickly. I don't want it to stick too much because I don't want it to peel anything up, but I'm going to line up exactly on my design so I can make sure it's perfectly in there. And this is tough. It won't be exactly perfect. There's a little bit, see a little bit of gapping because I'm human, but we've lined our transfer back on our design. I'm not pressing too much, but I want the dots to be in coral in the same areas here where the openings on my letters. I don't want it all over the board. So I've cut a piece of this polka dot transfer that's rather large. It's an E size. And it's same with the buffalo print. It's large. I'm going to fuzz this up a little bit. And we're going to chalk with these two transfers on top of each other in coral, peel them both up, and reveal our design. So I'm going to go ahead and put those dots right on top. And I see a pretty good amount of our design here through the dots. So here's our coral. And I've got my squeegee ready to go. And we're going to work a little fast because I'm just doing the whole thing here. I'm not doing the whole board, but this whole space. Doesn't matter what I'm seeing through here. I'm just going ahead, and I want the dots to be in cool little places. So let's go to town and make that happen. So I'm going to get, and that does waste a lot of chalk. It doesn't waste too much, but it is a lot more being used. But the effect is worth it. So if you watch this later, definitely put #replay in the comments. I'd love to say hello to you. Remember, we will be sharing this in the comments so that you can get this transfer if you like it. It's a really cool one. It's great for inspirational pieces. You know, Christmas was great, but it's time to move on from the Christmas. And in the South, it's cold today. I'm sure it's cold where you are too, but you know what? We don't have snow that much, and snowmen in January just doesn't work for us. So these kind of things works great. Being near the beaches, coral is it in this town. Same with teal. Coral, teal, and the raspberry sorbet. Hey Christine, how you doing? The raspberry sorbet looks really great together. So I'm going to pull that coral right off of there. Just put it in my jar. I don't want to waste anything. You know, I really want to... you know, I just don't, I want to save as much as I can. Even though these jars are $12.99, it's not a lot of money and they go for a long way. I don't want to be, you know, wasting. I want to have this color for a while. All right, so should we reveal our dots and see, make sure they went in there? Let's find out. Oh! Oh, some of it came out. Oh man, I messed that one up. But actually, it's pretty cool. Looks like it's splotchy. It's kind of cool, actually. Always earned and never given. We got some gaps here where it came up in the dots, so that's not good. But this particular effect, you gotta be careful with it and really concentrate on what you're doing. But here, I'll show you where it came up. See the black paste? Notice the white didn't come up. So maybe the black silk isn't exactly the way to go, but these two transfers are together. That is how you layer texture on top and to go into just the screen where you want. Now, you can do we did last week where it was just a pattern in the back, and we did a transfer on top of that. That does work really well. Maybe it wasn't last week, it's been a while. But that actually works out pretty well. But this is a cool effect to play with. Don't suggest it with glass or anything because that's a little tough. But as you can see, doesn't always work out in my favor. But it's kind of cool to play out with new things with Chalk Couture and do something different. So what I'm going to do is, when I get done with this, I'm going to clean this off. I did seal the bottom, but I'll just chalk right on top of it and actually make it say the same thing. Maybe I'll make it all in white this time. Who knows? Chalk Couture is good about that. The other thing I can do, because I sealed the bottom and I have some that came up, I can take a sanding block and sand this. It's a piece of wood, so I can just sand this off and repaint it and start over. So it's actually not that big of a deal. But this took us, let's see, we're in 15 minutes. That's not bad for a little project. So that's how you can layer those inside of the screen if you want to do something unique. Just kind of watch it on the bottom layer. You don't want to press too hard. That's where my mistake was. I pressed way too hard. So I had a great time doing this one. It was a great experiment. I definitely have a lot more to learn with this. But don't forget January 31st. Garland right there. It's cute. Let's make that together, and we'll make a difference for the missions team. Plus in February, we're making repurposed cabinet doors. And it's going to say welcome home, and you can pick anything you want and use all my paste right there in Michael's. There's 3 dates available. First 3 Saturdays in February. So sign up and join me for those. There's only 5 seats per class. That's in Brunswick. So join me. It'll be a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing this with you. I learned a lot. I hope you did too. And I'll be putting in the links where you can sign up for these workshops and get your hands on this always earned, never given, because that's a really nice inspirational transfer. I'll see you next time, next Monday at 8 o'clock. Until then, happy chalking. Bye.